everybody. I wanted to say welcome at the acceleration session of the Market Trends and Consumer Insights today. And a specific welcome to all potential new partners that is also joining. We will all have you have a short intro in a minute. But today we have a special acceleration session of the regenerative agriculture community together with Innova Market Insights. So welcome, ladies, also from Innova. And as you have heard, this session will be recorded also for you all to watch it back, or for people that couldn't join to watch it back later. So welcome, first of all, and a special welcome to Candy and Iris. First of all, I will quickly run through you to some things of the more plenary part, and then we will hand over to Innova to take the floor today. So I'll first quickly introduce our team today from the Food Valley side. My name is Jolijn Zwart van Kessel. I'm the lead Circular Agri-Food, but now also filling in the shoes that Eileen has left, as she has given birth to a very healthy baby boy. So today I will be happy to host you. Maybe I can also introduce my other colleagues. Karin, can you introduce yourself quickly? You have the mic already?
I already have the mic. Okay, perfect.
Sorry.
Yes, hello everyone. Nice to see you. My name is Karin Slobovitser, and I do lead the Regenerative Agriculture initiatives within Food Valley. So really nice to meet all of you and re-meet.
Yeah. Jorien, can I also ask you
Yes.
to introduce yourself?
Yes. It's really good to be here. My name is Jorien, project coordinator of the Regenerative Agriculture community. Today I will also give some technical support. So also at the beginning of this session, I would like to invite you that if you have any questions or remarks, please put them in the chat. We would love to have this session to be very interactive, hear your input, so don't feel shy to put something in the chat and share your insights with us.
Yeah. Okay. Then I also have another colleague that I would like to introduce. He's also a Food Valley colleague of ours. He's not in the slide, but he is a new colleague at Food Valley. Sander, maybe you can also introduce yourself. You don't have to open your mic because then it will start echoing.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sander Schot. I'm the head of philanthropy and impact funding at Food Valley. I started 1.5 weeks ago, so also learning a lot and listening in today. Thank you.
Great. Welcome, Sander. Also great that you could join us today. Well, then I would like to give the floor to Jorien, sorry, because she's going to take you towards the new next upcoming meeting.
Yeah, so at this beginning of this meeting, I would love to showcase our upcoming session, Innovation Insights, which we organize twice a year for our communities. The first time this year will be the 25th of March in Wageningen. I put a QR code in this slide so you can scan it and register. We would love to see you there. It will be a really interactive day. It will start in the afternoon at Friesland Campina, our partner. And we will have a very interesting session together with the Healthy Food community in which we will dive more into the nexus between Regen Ag and health. So that promises to be a very, very interesting session. And I would like to also highlight something very special, which is the Circular Drinks and Bites. If you go to the registration form, you can actually also register to promote or show your product at the Circular Drinks and Bites. The Innovation Insights will take place in the week of the circular economy here in the Netherlands. And as a regenerative partner, we would love to also see your product there. So if there's something interesting that you would like to showcase, please fill in the registration form and we will get back to you to share more information. So if you haven't done so, please scan the QR code and register. And then I would like to give the floor back to Jolijn.
Yeah. Thank you, Jorien. I hope you all join us that day because also the plenary program will be very interesting. So, well, then, first of all, before we make the round, I would like to make a short introduction to give the floor to the Innova team. Joining us today, Candy, can I give you the floor to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Candy. I'm here today with my colleague Iris. We are both a part of the Insights team here at Innova Market Insights, and we are responsible for all things related to consumer and market data here at Innova. We're excited to be with you here. We've been enjoying working on this project for about a month now, so it's a nice time to be able to finally bring it to you guys and present today.
Yeah, just to mention
Just a
that
few words.
Johannes will join a bit later because he has another meeting now. But yeah, he's going to be here with us just a bit, yeah, later.
Super. Well, maybe you can introduce yourself as well then.
Yeah, well, as Candy was saying, we are both part of the market and consumer insights team here in Innova, and I take care more of like the market side. So yeah, that's me.
Okay, super. Great that you all could be joining us and that you made such a great preparation. Then I would quickly like to make a small round to see who's in the room. Avdesh, can I ask you to quickly do an intro, very short intro, but then also everybody from Innova knows who's in the room.
Thank you very much, Yolaine. So, quick one means I am Avdesh and work as an open innovation manager for Dr. Oetker in Germany. And I have also my another colleague to make it short and quick, Jan, who may also take the next stage.
Yes, thank you, Avdesh. I'm Jan. I'm working in the International Sustainability Department of Dr. Oetker, and I'm looking after the topic of regenerative agriculture. It's my first time to be in this round. And I have to excuse myself after 30 minutes, I can say already. It has nothing to do with the content that I'm not interested, but happy to be here.
Thank you.
Will be recorded, so you can look
Great,
it back
perfect.
if you would like to. Thank you. Celia, can I give you the floor? Welcome.
Nice to be here. Solez, I'm head of regenerative and circular business model for Simrise. We've been discussing a few months already ago, and that's the first time I can really join a session, so I'm happy to be there today.
Yeah, so a warm welcome and great to see you. Great that you could join. Julian, can I ask you to quickly do an intro?
Of course you can. So my name is Julian Winkel. I am CCO at Solytics. And we are a German company that does soil health monitoring using DNA sequencing.
Super. Thank you very much. Then Jens, can I ask you to do your intro?
Hello, my name is Jens. I'm the founder of Het Volksportret. We're also an insights company, but we are using synthetic data, AI, based on data of the Dutch population to make predictions about different market potentials of different propositions and doing AI market research.
Yeah, and Jens is also joining us because in our next Innovation Insights, you will all meet Jens live as he's doing part of the program. So that's why he's joining today. So he already gets to know a little bit about you, but also gets to know the topic that we will proceed with also in the upcoming meeting. Gilmy, can I ask you to intro?
Yes, of course. My name is Gilme Davids. I'm a regenerative agriculture and climate manager at Verstegen Spices and Sauces, a family-owned company in the Netherlands, operating in Rotterdam, and as the name says, in the business of spices and sauces. And I also brought my colleague Colin.
I see. Yeah, super. Well, great that you could join today to get a first flavor, literally, of our community and what we're all about. Thank you for joining. Colin.
Hi, good afternoon. The first round for me, I received the invitation of Gilme and I'm very happy to join. I'm commercial responsible at Verstegen, and like Gilme stated, we are working in the herbs and spices and sauces market.
Super. Great that you could join as well. Very welcome. Okay, then I see Rosen Kolev. I don't know if I pronounce it right.
Yeah, that's correct. Thanks a lot, Lily. So I'm Rosen Kolev from Smart Farm Robotics from Bulgaria. We are into weeding robots and also looking very much into regenerative agriculture support, what we can do with our technology. Thank you.
Super. Welcome. I love it that our community is so very wide in all the different enabling technologies that we need. So really great. Celine.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Celine Klooster. I am a PhD candidate from Wageningen University in Research and specifically part of the Regional project. And I'm looking at the coherence of governance arrangements with the regenerative agricultural principles.
Super. Welcome today also. Let me see. Roy, I think I did not ask. Roy, can I ask you? I also have a black background. We don't see a face yet. Now let's check somebody else. Maybe Noor, can I ask you? Oh, Noor, we don't hear you.
Or she's not loud enough. A little bit louder, please.
Yeah, a little bit louder.
It's too low.
No, we don't hear you, Noor. Sorry.
What about now?
Yeah, now it's getting better. Yeah, maybe put it up a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes, now it's good.
Okay, perfect. My name is Noor. I am joining from Doctor Technologies. I'm working here as a business development associate. So we basically provide sustainability programs for companies from different sectors. Nice meeting you all.
Super, welcome. Thank you. Roy, let's try again.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, I'm inside now, so it should be better. My name is Roy Lenders, responsible for InnoBuddies, which is focused on human gut health, but we have a spin-off working on inner soils, which is biological soil sampling to DNA sequencing, and then based on all this biological data to generate reports and recommendations. Basically. Yeah.
Okay, super. Welcome. Saskia, I think I did not hear yet. Saskia, we don't see an image as well. Yeah. Saskia? Oh, we don't hear you. You're muted.
My name is Saskia Reusmakik and I work for Investors on Region Ag.
Thank you very much. Welcome. And I think the last one, Rapaga. Sorry.
That's okay. We're neighbors. No worries. Nice to meet you, Jolijn, finally. My name is Ronald. I'm the founder of Rapaga. We recently joined. See how this is going. We create robots for the agriculture, but small ones, not the size big ones as for the weed whackers. We calculate and we count the lice or aphids in good English in the field with our robots. It's 1.5 shoe box in size, our robots. We also measure plant health by activating the photosynthesis on the leaves. Based on the speed of distribution, we can then see how healthy or unhealthy it is. Based on the reflection, we can either see where the stress is coming from, either nutrients or water stress. So we are active in potato, lilies, lettuce, and asparagus at the moment.
Okay, thanks very much. Yep. Welcome. Nicholas, I also still see. Nicholas? You're not responding. Then Lars, can I give you the floor?
Yeah, good afternoon. Lars Kraak for the Producers Organization of Consumption Potatoes in the Netherlands. I'm currently filling in for two of my colleagues who usually take place, Merel Heike and Kijn van der Heijden, but they're both not available today, so I'll be listening.
And I see you're driving, so be careful. We'll switch
No,
off your
I'm not
screen
driving.
again.
I'm in the passenger seat.
Okay, okay.
So I'm fine.
Well, great that you could join and for your flexibility. So good to have you here. Then last chance, Nicholas, going to try again.
Yes, sorry, no, I'm just commuting, so that's a little bit complicated, but I can hear. And I'm working on the regenerative agriculture for Bunge in Europe.
Can you quickly share your screen so that everybody has a face with that? I know your face, but
well, it's not so not so easy, but let's do it this way.
But this is good enough. Thanks very much. Good to see you again, Nicholas. Great to have you here. I think I have given everybody the floor, right? Or have we missed anyone in the meantime? No, I think I had given everybody the floor. Then I think it will be time to proceed to our program, and that is giving the floor to Innova to share with us all about how do these Regen Ag products land in the market. Ladies, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So, yeah, you guys can hear me, right? Good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started once we see the screen up there. Just a moment, please. Perfect. Well, it was nice to hear everybody's introduction. It was really great to see that we have a lot of experts here. We're really honored to be among you guys. We understand that you guys are absolutely the experts in the regenerative agriculture space. We're hoping to take what knowledge we know in the market trends and the consumer perceptions and that whole arena and kind of pair it with that knowledge. So we come to you very excited for a conversation today and excited to learn more about you. To start, you guys already got our introduction a little bit. Like I said, my name is Kendi. I'm here with Iris today. We are both a part of the Insights team, responsible pretty much for all projects like this every day and getting data from everything from confectionery to plastic on bakery, plastic on the fruits is a project she's working on. But we are both senior consumer insights analysts, market insights analysts, and we've been here at Innova for quite a few years. So with that, we understand that we've had a bit of an introduction already. I still think it would be quite nice to see the actual breakdown of what different industries everybody is coming from. So if you don't mind quickly taking out your phones or interacting with the link potentially, if that's possible. What we'd like to see is where everybody is coming from. What part of the value chain are you coming from? And that can really help us set the tone for today and to see just a little bit more in detail of what's going on. So if you don't mind, let's see what's next.
Yes, we already starting to see some answers here. Great.
Let's see. Yeah, and just as I expected, it's kind of spread out quite a bit, which is really nice to see. It was really cool hearing some of your guys' expertise and what you guys are working on, what's on your plate right now. I see a lot of research, academia. I heard from Wageningen, of course, Food Valley. We are located in Arnhem, so we're not far away from you guys and from the Food Valley of the Netherlands. Okay, so quite a nice spread. That's what I like to see. We have a second question for you. And again, knowing you guys are experts, this might be a bit of a softball question for you guys. But we would like to see what word best captures regenerative agriculture for you guys. And what we'll end up seeing here is a bit of a word cloud, some things to kind of give us some inspiration and just understanding where you guys are coming from today. So let's see, I see transformation. Let's see what else. Soil health, eco-friendly.
It's funny how it's a bit too big.
Yeah. Resilience. Premium product is a really interesting one. That's what we're here to talk about essentially today. Transformation, resilience, soil, eco-friendly, the future. This is so cool. I really like this. More nutritious, eco-friendly. So it looks like everybody's kind of coming from their own perspective here and really communicating their individual path of how they're viewing it, which is quite nice. Okay, so thank you guys for sharing with that today. I think I can take that going forward and kind of tailor some interactions with you. Hopefully we'll have another interactive bit in just a little bit here when it comes to our AI section. But for now, I just wanted to quickly walk you guys through how we're going to spend our time together today. First, we're going to start with a brief background of Innova, who we are, why we're coming to you guys, how we approach trends, and that type of thing. We're going to zoom out to a bigger picture, to the global health trends, to sustainability themes, things that have been going on in food and beverage for years. And I apologize for the echo. And from there, we're going to narrow our scope a little bit. We're going to talk more specifically about regenerative agriculture. We're going to take a closer look at the consumer and market side. We're going to bring in lots of great examples and really understand what people understand regenerative agriculture to be today, where the familiarity is, where the momentum is building throughout the products, throughout claims, throughout products. And after that, we're going to explore AI and how it's starting to support regenerative agriculture through some really specific examples and things that likely you guys are familiar as well from what it sounds like. Finally, we're going to round out with a few key takeaways, what you guys can be bringing home and what that all means for regenerative, for food and beverage moving forward. So without further ado, Iris is going to discuss who we are at Innova and what we do.
Yeah, so for the ones that don't know us, we're a global insights company entirely focused on the food and beverage industry. And for more than 30 years, we've been tracking food and beverage trends, capturing around the 90% of global innovation. And you can think of our new product database as a global online supermarket, we like to call it, because our researchers continuously monitor retail shelves and online stores, capturing every new product launch. And then we kind of like break down the information into claims, ingredients, flavors, textures, or packaging, and everything is coded in our data set. But how do we turn this data into trend insights? So we do this like basically in two different main lenses. First, looking at what companies are launching in terms of new products, ingredients, claims, flavors, what I was explaining now. And then also what consumers want and why. So which are their needs, their values, on how their behaviors are changing over time. And because trends don't really start and end in one country, we also track innovation in more than 90 countries. So many times we can spot if something is being mainstream in further away markets like the US or Japan before it actually comes mainstream here in Europe. And this 360-degree approach is especially important when we look at emerging topics like regenerative agriculture, because regenerative agriculture doesn't really show up in one place. It appears in early product launches, in claims, in brand language, in expert discussions, but also gradually in consumer awareness. So by connecting these different lenses, we try to move this beyond this buzzword and understand where regenerative agriculture is gaining traction and how it's starting to shape food and beverage innovation.
And so I just want to take a quick step back and kind of explain how we're actually seeing the trends at Innova. We tend to look at the world from a top-down, bottom-up view. So we're seeing those mega trends, the F&B, the consumer trends. So on one hand, we've been tracking these really big long-term shifts in consumer attitudes and in concerns for many years, things like sustainability, environmental concern, health of the planet, really broad concepts. And sometimes these are a bit vague, but they're incredibly important for the context of everything else that we're going to talk about. So when we're looking at the long-term data, the findings are not going to surprise you guys at all. It doesn't surprise us. across the market, health of the planet is always the number one global issue of concern for consumers globally. And we see that really amplified by climate change because, I mean, we're seeing every day our news feeds, our families were all affected by climate change, the extreme weather events, fires, snowstorms, etc. And it's really reframed sustainability and that larger concept as something that is in an optional, a nice to have thing into something that's actually more fundamental. So this slide is essentially to say that we don't really see sustainability as a new trend. It's not something that is emerging. It's been here, right? It's not particularly interesting to say, but what is new and the things that make it interesting are how this concern is starting to translate into more specific ideas and practices. And so that's where we're connecting in regenerative agriculture. So before we continue, again, I know you guys are the experts here and we're just coming to you with our very general understanding of what regenerative agriculture is, just so you understand the lens that we're working on this project with. We see it as an approach to farming that's starting with protecting and rebuilding the soil, using it as a foundation to restore ecosystems, improve food production, strengthening environmental health and farm resilience. And we understand that regenerative agriculture includes a number of principles, not all of which are mentioned here, from focusing to caring for the soil, integrating livestock, soil covering, et cetera, et cetera. And in terms of the benefits, we understand that it's the entire scope that it's benefiting. So down from the soil to the person, to the ecosystem around it, we see it as a broad system benefit and a benefit change that needs to be taking place. So just so you guys are aware of where we're operating today. So one of the things that we've mentioned is regenerative agriculture is extremely expansive, and it's also something that is still very much emerging, as I've said. So we understand it as it's not a single trend, and it's not something that's showing up in blinking red lights, like this is regenerative agriculture, especially because it's so new in the minds of the general public. And so what we're looking at right now is our top F&B trends from 2026. So this is one of the things that Innova is quite famous for. One of the things that's put us on the map are our top trends every year. So I wanted to take a step back, look across it, and see how in some of those ideas, we can kind of see how regenerative agriculture is actually showing up. So we're going to be sharing a few quick slides from those top 10 trends to see how it's already embedded in the market and where we can kind of call it out indirectly. So we're going to start actually with number 10, justified choices, which is our fancy word for sustainability. We're going to move across to authentic plant-based, and finally gut health. So essentially, just to restate, we understand regenerative agriculture is still very early in the consumer language. Many of the ideas are very alive and well, and we're seeing it across the trends. It's just not as pronounced as you may expect it to be. So, as I said, justified choices here is probably the most clearly related trend. It is regenerative agriculture's more vague cousin, sustainability. So what we've been seeing here is a move towards things that are tangible, that are transparent, that are truthful. And we see that consumers are really looking to feel more grounded and more connected to their local communities, to their farms, to where their food is actually coming from. And our data actually shows specifically that consumers are more accepting of these premium prices when brands are clearly demonstrating the connect to the local farmers and to their communities. So for us, that's where regenerative culture has a real strength, actually. It's something that we got really excited about when we started working on this project, is that regenerative agriculture is naturally lending itself to the storytelling that really connects people to the entire production chain to help them see where their food is grown. And for brands, it creates a real opportunity to build trust, justify their value, connect more meaningfully with the communities that they're a part of. So authentic plant-based is another trend where we're clearly seeing regenerative agriculture show up. And I'm sure that connection you guys can also make for yourselves as well. Over the last few years, we've seen a big push towards those imitation products. I'm sure if you go into Albert Heijn, if you go into Jumbo, if you go into any of your grocery stores, you can see those imitation products, and many of you guys might likely have worked with them as well. I call them the bleeding meat burgers, the things that are like a one-for-one attempt at imitation. But actually what we've been seeing is that we are progressing towards a shift away from that and towards plant-based foods that are actually more natural and more minimally processed. And to represent that, we had asked consumers what they particularly consider to be plant-based. And what we're seeing is nuts and seeds, we're seeing legumes and fruits and vegetables. And so this tells us a lot. It tells us plant-based for the consumers, it's really just real plants. And so the connection to regenerative agriculture is very evident in this case, right? We want people choosing more plant-based foods, simpler ingredient lists, and they're creating the demand for the kind of crops that regenerative agriculture are depending on. So it's really, I think, one of the most logical connections here in our trends, where, again, not saying in blurring lights this is regenerative agriculture, but the connection is absolutely there. And the final trend I want to touch on is gut health. And so more and more what we're seeing is consumers are seeing gut health as a bigger well-being picture. So not just about digestion, it's about feeling more balanced, energized, and understanding that it connects to immunity. And the solutions that they're specifically using are quite natural. They're not these modified complex things. It's the fiber, it's the fermented foods, again, whole ingredients. So we can connect this slide a lot back with the plant-based slide as well. We're seeing a clear preference towards the natural and the minimally processed. And to add that to that, you can see the little quote in the corner here, that there's a growing sense that the healthy gut is beginning with healthy ingredients, and that the healthy ingredients are beginning with healthy soil. So even when consumers are not able to really spell that out in the full chain, there's kind of this shared intuition about what happens at the source is really mattering in what they're putting in their bodies. So we feel that regenerative agriculture really fits into that mindset quite naturally. We see that it's about improving the soil health, it's building better farming systems, and building more long-term resilience overall. And so we got to see a little bit about Innova's 2026 food and beverage trends, how they're related, but we want to take a look into another aspect of our specialty, the market, and Iris is going to take us more into the consumer and what is happening there. So really the meat and potatoes of today's presentation. So I will go ahead and hand that over to her.
Yes, thank you, Candy. And first of all, let's start with the consumer perspective. But just to be, yeah, sorry, we're having a bit of echo, but we're trying to fix it now. Yeah, and just to be fully transparent here, data at the consumer level is still quite limited when it comes to regenerative agriculture, largely because awareness is still developing, but it also hasn't historically been a core client focus for us. But that being said, there are already some clear signals worth highlighting. As this slide shows, familiarity with the term is still quite low. Only 71% of consumers are unfamiliar or slightly familiar with the term. But when people are thinking about nature-related food and beverage choices, there is already some traction. As we can see here, 1 in 4 consumers are already looking for regenerative and agricultural claims. And when consumers try to find meaning behind these claims, the link is quite clear, as 25% of them directly connected with nature protection. And that is like how I personally tend to think about it, because Candy was highlighting earlier that, yeah, we can make a connection maybe around health or around gut health, but these connections are still emerging for consumers, with environmental impact remaining the most intuitive association for everyone. And when we move from the consumer perspective to the market, the momentum becomes very clear. Here in this graph, we are looking at the indexed number of new food and beverage launches carrying a regenerative farming claim at the global level, with 2021 as the baseline. And what stands out immediately is the growth trajectory. Like since 2021, launches with regenerative farming claims have increased sharply, reaching a compound annual growth rate of 44%. And it's not just about making a claim. On the right-hand side of the slide, you can see this product example. And we can see how brands are bringing this to life through storytelling and language, linking certified regenerative claims, but also with stories around quality, around nutrition and taste, linking to the ingredient quality of those products. And if we now look specifically at the market for regenerative and agricultural claims, we can see some regional differences. Here in this map, we are looking at the products carrying regenerative agricultural claims and analyzing where those launches are happening at the global level. So the US and Canada currently dominate the space. In fact, they just take over the half of new food and beverage launches carrying this claim. Representing the largest market and the most established. But yeah, it's not only confined in North America. Europe already counts for 25% of those launches. And what is particularly interesting is to see the growth. Europe is expanding quite fast. It's moving quickly from early signals to more of a broader adoption of the term. Making quite interesting in that kind of sense. And although we also can see that LATAM and APAC, they take smaller share, regenerative farming claims are also becoming broader relevant in those regions as well.
And I quickly, sorry to interrupt, because I see a question from Avdesh in the
if you can actually say that.
Could you also look into it? I think one of the two questions is already answered with your presentation, but the others I think still open.
Yeah, so I'm seeing one, is minimally processed really a consumer trend, or is it always in combination with other health benefits? And the second is the consumer data global or Netherlands specific? Right off the bat, I can say it's global for everything that we have here. We do different studies in anywhere from, I think, 13 now countries and up to 35, depending on the category or the project. So in this case, it's global in 11 of the biggest markets.
And the other question, 13, to see US is leading. So here we are analyzing communication on packaging. So in terms of claims, but also, as we were saying before, storytelling and brand language. So in the US and Canada, we were seeing more brands communicate about regenerative farming practices, but also sourcing ingredients, more things related to this regenerative agriculture. This is what is showing here on the map.
And thank you guys for asking the questions. Please feel free to keep sending them in.
Exactly. And we don't really see the questions on our screen. So
I'll try and keep an eye on it. But if there's something that just let us know and we'll hop in there. And we'll have time at the end as well if you have bigger, broader questions. But please, we enjoy the back and forth and we enjoy being able to discuss with you guys and clarify things as needed.
And now we move on looking at regenerative agriculture by category. And let me explain this chart first. Each category is shown in two bars. The lighter blue represents 2021 and the darker blue 2025. And what we're looking is at the share of new food and beverage launches carrying a regenerative farming claim by category. So if we look back at 2021, as I highlighted here, we can see that the market is quite concentrated. Categories such as dairy, bakery, and cereals are taking up a large share of launches, making them early adopters of regenerative farming claims. But as we move forward to 2025, we see that the picture is way more diversified, while bakery, dairy, and cereals also remain present. We see many other categories entering the space, seeing that the market is growing quickly, including ready meals, hot drinks, baby and toddlers, and soups that are showing quite a lot of growth. And to bring this to life, let's look at a few concrete product examples for some of the categories that I was explaining you just now. And what is particularly interesting here, it's to see how regenerative agriculture can be communicated on pack, because it's not anymore about putting a claim, but also embedding it into broader narratives around responsible sourcing, quality, and care for future generations. And we can also see here with this baby and toddlers product, which is more linked to ideas of purity, trust, and doing better for the next generation when we think about which ingredients do we put in these products.
Can I quickly interrupt? Because before you proceed, I think one slide back, there was another question in the chat. And the question was if there's any price difference compared to the traditional products of organic certified products. So can you see if there's, with the normal bio, organic, and the Regen Ag, if there's a price difference in your data?
I mean, we can see...
But
we can see the price of the products in when it comes to like moment of buying, like purchase.
So the moment where they purchase it. So as we kind of described, the way that we get all of our data, that we have this really crazy big network of 2,000 people who go in to stores every day across the world, over 90 countries, and their whole job is to go in, take a picture of a new product that they're seeing. They take a picture of the packaging, they're recording the claims, they're doing translations of everything on it. And so that's really how we're getting our information. So at that time, we're able to see the price of what's going on.
But in this analysis, we didn't really compare organic with regenerative agriculture, and we didn't really take a look at the price of those products. So that could be something that we could do, but not that we did here in this.
As a whole, we do understand that usually any kind of claims and these kind of more specialty claims, they're usually associated with a more premium product price tag usually. So that it's just a more standard thing to do. But thank you guys for the question.
Yeah. I'm gonna move on now. So now here we're looking at health and choice claims associated with products carrying regenerative agriculture claims. And as you see right there on the top, organic clearly leads, appearing on 39% of new food and beverage launches, providing a familiar and trusted sustainability anchor for these regenerative agriculture products. And we can see this, we can see how this plays on pack. With this product example, you can find organic being in the front and center of the product, being large, visible, in another color, while regenerative agriculture sits more behind, more within the supporting story, bringing more product, like narrative to the product, rather than leading as a primary call out. And this highlights how brands are using organic to first anchor attention, while regenerative agriculture enriches the story behind it. And now if we go back...
Sorry, can I also interrupt? Because there's a question, I think it's very much relating to this in the chat. Roy says, is it really regenerative branding, or did you also count the organic or the other related stuff? I think it's also on the last slide before, but I think it also connects to this slide, actually.
So it is specifically regenerative branding. So our code word is regenerative agriculture, regenerative farms are the terms that we specifically use. So while there's a lot of co-labeling that's happening, and that's something that we find super interesting and kind of an angle that brands are using because the consumer awareness is so low, that they're taking the regenerative label and they're using it with, let's say, the organic, the gluten-free, etc., those top three things. But it is on its own. Regenerative is the term. And something that we should point out too while we're here is that, and we kind of discussed earlier, there's the official claims, and that's something that the US is doing more so. And those are, I don't want to call it arbitrary, but it's not a uniform methodology yet. It's not there yet. And that's something where Europe is starting to catch up, or maybe they won't, because they do have more strict regulations overall when it comes to those claims and labels and more specific things. So that's not necessarily what we're talking about here. It can be, but we're just talking about what the what the companies are communicating through the packaging in this case. So I hope
But
that's
maybe
clear.
the reason I asked the question is because the percentages look so high. They do not correspond with at least my knowledge of farmers that actually use regenerative agriculture. So it looks more marketing than reality, in my feeling. But that's probably because it's a non-protected word and you can just put
Yeah.
it on.
Yeah, I mean that could definitely be the thing. And these percentages are just related to the co-labeling. So for every regenerative agriculture labeled product, then it's organic agriculture, if I'm getting that correct. This is Iris's side of the table
Yeah.
as well. But
Yeah,
so it's not organic and then there's regenerative agriculture. It's when we're seeing regenerative agriculture, 49% of those are co-labeling it with organic. So maybe that kind of shrinks the field a little bit, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I hope this is clear because as Candy was saying exactly. So here we are only looking at the product launches carrying this regenerative farm, the regenerative sourced kind of communication on packaging. And then we're seeing which other claims those products have. So yeah, like 39% of them would also contain an organic claim. But then we also see other health claims related to, yeah, no additives, preservatives, no added sugar, high source of fiber, which are also being co-positioned with these regenerative farming claims. And here we can also see some product examples. Yeah, so brands highlighting the commitment to regenerative agriculture, but also adding those claims in terms of no additives, preservatives, no added sugar, only containing natural sugars present in those vegetables, or also like high source of fiber being connected to the ingredients and the emphasis on taste and flavor of those products. And of course, while health claims are clearly part of the story, ethical positionings are even more prominent with these products, because the fastest growing ethical claims are more related to animal, fish, and bird welfare, also connected to the environment. But we are also seeing human-focused ethical claims that are expandingly quite fast, reinforcing farmer livelihoods, education, and responsible sourcing. And to conclude with a tangible example, this slide shows how the same ingredients as can be almonds can be positioned in different ways when linked to regenerative agriculture. In some cases, as we can see here on the right, we can see a focus more connected to natural nutrients, flavor of the almonds, but others put more emphasis on these environmental outcomes, such as soil health, but also social impact, including farmer livelihoods and animal welfare. So ultimately, this demonstrates that regenerative agriculture is not fixed in one message. The same ingredient can be communicated through multiple lenses. And depending on what brands want to communicate and how they want to attract their consumers, they can use one narrative or the other. And now that we have examined kind of all the market and what the consumer insights are, I want to give the floor to Candy, who is going to talk more about future directions.
Right. So earlier in the presentation, we saw that many of the first regenerative food and beverage launches, especially back in 2021, they were showing up more in categories like bakery, like cereals. So in that way, it makes sense when people hear regenerative and they're thinking about products. They think oftentimes about granola, they're thinking about regenerative or alternative flours, more functional artisanal products. And certainly when I was talking about this project and I was communicating with my coworkers, these are things that they were frequently thinking of. I was thinking of going into a little cafe. We have this really great little bake Columbus in Wageningen. Some of you might be aware there, where I can see the labeling initially. And that's honestly where I started. That was my starting place for it. We feel that these early launches were really important. They helped build the credibility, but they also really shaped the expectations overall. But what we're seeing now is more of a new phase. So we're seeing regenerative agriculture start to move more into an expressive, a playful, more culturally relevant spaces. So I like to use this Chetty's example a lot. It's a really, really, really great product that we're seeing here. So we're taking regeneratively sourced cheese. They're pairing it with really bold, kind of nostalgic flavors like pizza, and they're even collaborating with somebody like Steve Aoki, who is a lovely DJ. But really, what we want to direct your attention to here is the top left corner, which is the regenerative tastes better. And it's something that is so rarely communicated directly to the consumer. So in any of those previous products, it's not something that's really been talked about yet. And it's really an opportunity that's being missed because we have early understanding that regeneratively farmed products have a higher micronutrient concentration, that there's all these benefits to the earth, but really how it affects the consumer in terms of product experience is not really being shared yet. And so this is like a fantastic example of how that's happening. So for us, the two Chetty's takeaways is regenerative agriculture, more bold, more playful space, more fun to be had in it, but also connecting the not so obvious benefits to regenerative agriculture, like the actual ingredients tasting better, that has really not been utilized enough. So on the right-hand side, if we look at Figo Fruity, it's another area that brands are starting to expand on, which is the storytelling aspect. And it's something that that is still quite rudimentary if we look back at those previous products as well. So we see regeneratively grown, we see regeneratively sourced, but we know that consumers are really actually lacking a true understanding of what that means. And so Figo Fruity does a really nice example of talking about how they directly work with the farmers, restoring the land, they're supporting local communities, helping the forest thrive, and helping to support the local economy. And then they're linking that story immediately straight into the actual product experience with bold, the bright flavors. Something about this product makes me really want to try it. I know that if I'm a sucker for chocolate anyways, but if I were to see this in the store, it's something that I would absolutely reach for. But it's one of the clearest examples that we've seen in terms of a brand making regenerative agriculture feel more appealing, expressive, something to be enjoyed. And these are just areas that brands are able to really work into as it relates to regenerative agriculture.
Candy, can I ask you
Yes,
something? Also,
indeed.
looking at the chat, and there's a whole discussion going on in the chat. So this is
fantastic.
quickly why I'm interrupting
Uh-huh.
into your story, because we are looking at these examples, and in the chat you see a discussion saying, is there a clear definition or certification for regen products in markets like US? I think there is. You probably also know, at least in US, there is one certification.
Yeah, there's a number. Yeah, there's a number of
there's
them.
a number. So maybe you can talk to that a bit. But then there's a topic next to it, questioning. So, what are the claims or the regulatory landscapes regarding regenerative claims? And these differ quite from Europe and also from the US. I know, as in Europe, we're getting the green claims directive coming up in the upcoming years, where this is really getting tighter, I think, so that we don't sell something to people which is not something scientifically can be claimed. But maybe you can talk to us also a little bit about this discussion and what you found in terms of these claims and regulatory landscapes.
Yeah, and maybe just to be a bit clear here, when we speak about claims, or like what I was showing before about like claims or like products claimed as regenerative farming or something, I mean, claim by itself, I mean, it's a big word, as we may like think about it. But when we think about claims, or when we as Innova, we talk about claims, yeah, it also includes this product communication. So beyond a claim that it's approved and regulatory like in Europe or the US or we're also looking at brand communication, so how they communicate on products, their efforts towards regenerative agriculture. And that's the market that we analyzed here. So not only about a claim that it's put on pack and it's like standardized in a way, but also how brands are starting to communicate to consumers on their narratives around regenerative farming. in this kind of sense.
If I translate what you're saying you just look onto what is on pack and what do the brands say that is so,
Exactly.
not necessarily being really so, and not necessarily meaning that it's certified and being checked as such.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that could also be very different in terms of what is allowed in the US, for instance, where you maybe have less regulatory demands or rules about what you can claim or not can claim on pack, in terms of in Europe, where we are much more firm on what you can claim that needs to be really true and scientifically
Definitely.
proved if you
Yeah.
claim it or not. But what you do see and show in this presentation, I think, is that a lot of claims are done, and whether that's only just marketing and not being true at all, we don't know. But that's at least what the market shows.
Right.
And at least in the US, if I translate what you're saying.
I can
Correct?
only speak to the ones in the US, yeah. In terms of certifications, specifically speaking, where like somebody is paying or usually paying or applying for some kind of label to be put on, rather than just a free claim of regeneratively farmed, etc. I think I mentioned before, it's really all over the place. I did a good chunk of research into what the different expectations were, costs, etc. And it's just so all over the place that it's really tricky to come up with a unified thing. So hopefully that's something that they'll see in the future for sure. But yes, so is there any other questions? Did we address that? I wanted to address is this scientifically supported to have more nutrition? Was that in reference to this slide, or was that a previous slide?
I think it was maybe a previous, but it also probably counts for this, whether or not, because that's, of course, the real question, whether or not science can prove that it's actually more nutritious. This is also a topic where this is why this is a first session. And in the next session, we're going to talk about that part a little bit more and really detail that out, whether or not we can claim that already and what science tells us on that. Which is quite interesting actually on the micronutrient part, because there is already some research showing that there's more vitamins, minerals, etc. in there, but it's also very dependable on the type of crop. So it differs whether it's grown in the ground or above ground, etc. So there's enough to be said already.
Yeah, so that was also the question regarding the previous slide where it was written regeneratively grown almonds elevate the sustainability and nutritional standards, because there are actually big claims out there. So whether this was like somehow supported either via sensory properties, so some sensoric tests from consumers, or as always in US, is it just like written as a claim and nobody checks?
Yeah, in this case, we don't know that level of detail for sure, but I think your assumption is probably not far off in that case.
I'm actually specialized in gut health. There is no science at all that translate whatever you eat into the gut, because most of the microorganisms that you find in the soil cannot live in the gut, so they basically die.
I would invite you for next meeting, Roy.
I'm curious too.
I heard some. So,
and also it was about the nutrition per se.
Yeah,
because one can imagine. So even in personal touch as well. So if you eat organic as compared to the traditional one, so in tomatoes you really feel that there is a lot of difference in the taste as well as in the cutting as well. I mean, with the normal one, it's full of water, and the other one is like not that much. Also, the skin is different.
Maybe I can also add a little bit. My name is Natalia. Sorry, I'm not on the screen because I'm a bit ill. I have an ill daughter at home, but I work on claims in different companies, and it depends what the lady said. What depends what you call a claim. Not everything is a claim, and you can always create communication which is vague enough for consumers to think it's regenerative or organic, but actually it doesn't really say it. So then it's allowed because it doesn't say it, but we assume it. So I think it depends how you phrase it, and often companies use it to avoid any tests.
Yeah, thank you.
That might actually be the reason, right? Because organic is a protected word. So if the product is not organic, you cannot use it. But if you put regenerative on it, it looks like it's organic.
Yeah. Indeed, it seems like companies are starting to get an idea of that as well, which kind of ties in a little bit to the next slide that we have here, actually, which is we're pivoting.
Because Karen wanted to add also to, I think, to the Karen.
Yeah, one of the things I also see is there's quite some claiming that does not say anything about regenerative, but things like better for the soil or working on improving
biodiversity, etc.
Yeah, things. So it is more vague. So I'm not sure you will find them in your research because it has less clear claims, but of course it is linked to what you could call regenerative agriculture. So I think that's what you see in Europe a bit more.
Yeah, and that probably has to do with what you said, Roy, that organic is really, really tightly protected, and regen is, well, sort of open. All right, give you the floor back again.
One more thing from Natalia, that I am also owner of the brand, which is also using regenerative fruits. And then what I noticed, it's very different from one country to another in Europe. So I think we can't really say that Europe, because it's very different in Germany or compared to Holland, compared to France or compared to Austria. So I think there are different regulations, and then we have to, you can't really say Europe in general.
Fantastic.
Any country that's leading, where it's easy to sell?
So I mean, it's Germany in general, or Austria much more organic. In UK, the trend is definitely down. So I think it also depends what is. I think you can't really generalize it. We look at it a lot, so I think it's really different per country, and also requirements are
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. I think that's one of the beautiful things that we have here today is we have so many experts in the room that are able to actually give additional detail and flourish to all of this conversation. So, I mean, honestly, especially when it comes to this next case, because we're going to pivot slightly and talk about more so this example when it comes to Nescafe. And I know Food Valley has been a huge proponent in getting businesses to start adopting these practices. And sorry, just a moment, my screen is deciding to run away from me, to adopting these practices and to really get moving. So one of those areas that we see it is with this example. And throughout this entire project, one of the other things I would always hear when I'm talking to people is, why are businesses going to adopt this? It's not an economic benefit for them. How is this actually going to fit? But we found this lovely example from Nescafe where they had they collaborated on a project where they were able to model exactly what a $500 to $600 million investment would show up in returns. And what they saw was they're seeing $2 billion in additional farmer income, $2 billion in additional coffee exports, a massive amount of CO2 reductions. And so really that conversation around what businesses are going to have to sacrifice is starting to change and shift. And as it relates to the future, we're really wanting to see more businesses be able to support that with their data as well. So this is very early. Nescafe has been working on this for years, as well as PepsiCo and these other massive brands as well. And so we're looking for more of these practical examples. And we think that that's really where we're going to start seeing the shift when we can really sell it to companies that, hey, doing the right thing is not going to end up in this massive economic loss for you. So we spent some time looking at the regenerative agriculture through the market and the consumer lens, how it's showing up in food and beverage. Our second shift today is going to be the AI shift as well. So really excited to hear that. It seems like there's a lot of people in different aspects of the field. So we really want to hear from you guys. We're going to bring in some engagement.
Sorry to interrupt you again, but there's a question in the chat, the question is, how does Nescafe know it's regenerative via certifications? And I heard that Karin knows some part or a part or the answer. So Karin,
I'm not sure. I believe they will
give it a try.
Rainforest Alliance on their regenerative agriculture certification. And Rainforest Alliance has a kind of scorecard principle, so you need to adhere to at least a certain number of practices, and there's only two outcomes, and then you enter into this scorecard levels. And I believe they actually have the claim on pack from Rainforest Alliance, regenerative agriculture.
Yeah, and there's a whole labeling. If you Google it, they have just shared it, I think, 3/4 of a year or a year ago, something like that. You can find it, what their whole scorecard is. So if you're interested, Google. I'll try to find it and we'll put it in the chat if we find it.
So it's basically then practice-based instead of outcome-based.
No, it's a mix, I believe.
Which is quite necessary to know.
Yeah.
It is a mix, as far as I know, but it has been a while, but and it is of course audited.
Because that's, I think, also one of the reasons, one of the most dangerous things that's happening in the regenerative space is that companies can start to claim things are regenerative with certifications that are not outcome-based. And because of that, people start to lose trust on the regenerative agriculture. So that's one thing I'm personally really worried about.
Yeah, understand what you mean.
Totally, totally. And we're seeing to bring that the certification conversation up for again, but that's something that we're starting to see a little bit more in that arena, at least in the States, is that they're looking for things that are more measurable and objective rather than just practice-based alone, which is exciting. So hopefully there'll be a lot more change, so it's more impactful, and regulated and all of that. So we're going to continue the conversation a little bit towards AI. Again, I know that we have a lot of people here who are very specialized in it. So if you guys would not mind scanning really quickly the Mentimeter, and we want to see, where do you most see AI as compatible with regenerative agriculture? You guys are acting very fast. I can already see we have 2 answers in there. And seeing soil health, yields, reducing outputs, yield and quality. Let's see. Just give it a few more seconds. Reducing inputs. So definitely this is where, crop resilience. Yeah, definitely at the end, guys, this is where we would love to hear some of your guys' input as some of the professionals in this area. Where we can really get into it is how much conversation is happening around it. So the slide that we have up has a really good idea of how big the conversation around AI, specifically in agriculture and food and beverage, really is globally. So we use our social listening lens, and we use that methodology, and we found that the engagement is really overwhelmingly positive or neutral, and the conversations are mostly around how AI is making the systems more efficient, more sustainable, specifically with smart farming tools, packaging, startups, etc. For us, the smart farming is really where it's super easy to connect it back to the regenerative agriculture space, because this is largely in just agriculture itself, right? So really that, and the ability to be more precise and the ability to build resilience over time is what we're seeing in that. So we want to give a few examples of what's happening. And it sounds, again, like there might be somebody here who might have more to share on this, but we're seeing in wineries like Chateau Montelena, they're using AI to make more precise decisions in their vineyards, understanding the vine health, being able to respond to water stress, managing their sun exposure. And so instead of just applying the same treatment everywhere, they're able to really respond and adapt to what each vine, what the microsystem is actually needing. And so they're in turn reducing unnecessary water, energy, inputs, and overall just building resilience over time. And what I like about this example specifically is a lot of people's concerns are the loss of something that's like real, right? So the loss of what makes something authentic. And in this case, to me at least, they're not really losing the art of the winemaking itself. They're just helping it be more specific while just using fewer resources overall. So Concert Bio, perhaps some of you are familiar. it's a similar idea. It's just underground and it's related to the microbiome in the soil itself. So they're helping farmers and companies just understand specifically in a really nuanced way, what is happening specifically, what microbes are present, and what that means for their soil. And so in turn, how to respond to that, right? They're making the soil health more measurable and really at the end of the day, understanding where intervention is actually needed. So as we're an insights company, we understand that that is also, a large level of insight that they're able to give. So we really see the value in that as well. Are there any more questions at this point that I can stop and address? Any other comments on that from those present? No? Okay, then we will continue on. So we just looked at what is happening today, and this slide is really more tailored towards what's happening next. But to be honest, the precision farming is specifically a little bit what we had talked about before. Just really AI being able to be more precise, do more field-specific predictions, helping farmers respond to the soil, the climate conditions in real time, and again, reducing the one-size-fits-all approach to things. So at the same time, we're seeing AI become more accessible to smaller farmers, which is really important if we want regenerative agriculture to actually grow to scale and to move beyond just large farmers and to move into the smaller groups as well. And finally, we're seeing better forecasting. So forecasting around pricing, disease, pests. That really means just earlier interventions, often with fewer inputs. And so in this way, it's able to help regenerative agriculture just move from those like little pockets of progress into a larger, more systemic level change. So with that, we know that we're close on time and we appreciate you guys sticking with us. We just want to make a quick summation of our session and what we want you guys to remember going forward.
Yes, so just to wrap it up a little bit, today's session, we want to just give out like 3 main takeaways that we kind of concluded out of like our analysis and our research around regenerative agriculture. We have seen that it's still a niche. It's still a niche market, but it's an emerging trend. The market is moving quite fast, launching new products, communicating around regenerative farming, despite low consumer familiarity with the term. We have also seen that co-positioning is quite essential for relevance and trust. Consumers already recognize claims around organic, around ethical and sustainability, while regenerative agriculture is a bit unknown. But when communicated together, we are starting to create more awareness on the shelves. And then finally, scaling regenerative agriculture requires cross-sector collaboration because real impact will depend on stronger partnerships across the value chain, supported by beta data, measurement, and maybe even AI-enabled insights. So that was our session today. Thank you so much for your attendance. And if you have any questions, please, we are open to discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. And already I saw that there was a lot of conversations and discussions going on. So I can imagine that there might be some questions or maybe even remarks or questions to each other even. So who can I maybe give the floor for questions or remarks?
I have a question. All these big food companies, right? They manage the farmers with their annual CSRD reporting, right? Which they are obligatory to do. And they asked all the farmers for certificates and doing type of stuff. They reported in the annual report. And probably that gives them then the confidence that they can put a word like regenerative on their product label. But the term is clearly not defined. Nobody knows how to define it. So it would
That's a
be
plus and a minus, huh?
it would be good. Maybe that would be a good topic to research a little bit. How does that flow work from the label back to the farmer, to that CSRD report? Because that's the main mechanism these big companies use to actually manage their supply chain.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a very good question. Maybe there is somebody in the room from big companies that could answer that question or give an opinion as to how do you deal with that yet, for instance. I don't know, Avdesh, maybe you from the Dr. Utker. Don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe you can, or Simrise, maybe you have something to say about how do you do it now or how you're looking into this.
Maybe
I
I
mean,
can.
yeah, so
Sorry.
please go ahead. You please go ahead because I don't really have a concrete answer to it. I mean, we are still struggling to see what the consumer really. So how we will be able to really convince the consumer, and that's why I'm over and over again asking that: is there any scientific support of the data that this is really good for your health? Because like we can't just put a claim that it's better for you because it's better for the environment. Of course, we really want to support the environment and want to be sustainable. But when it comes to the reality, so reality check inside the market, we have to place the product for the consumers and consumers must buy it. And we actually sell the products in mass level. Therefore, it has to be, let's say, a big trend that the consumers are already aware of and they're really convinced that this is a big fact.
And how do you look towards what Roy says? Like, okay, so what if you were able to show it and to valorize it all the way up to the consumer? How would you then make sure that the farmer also is included in that premium somehow or in that? And also because I think Celia, you also wanted to respond, so I'm also very curious to your answer on that. But maybe Avdesh, you could quickly come back to that as well.
I might have some insight from producer side as well on this topic.
Yeah, so I mean, like in our case, it's simple because if it is a premium product, then it has to come from companies like Celia will speak anyway. So from the suppliers, of course, and we rely on their, let's say, all fair practices that they must ensure that this is really happening all the way towards the farmer level.
Okay.
Because one day our consumer would really ask us to be completely transparent and fair so that they can really track it all the way down to farmers.
Well, it's quite interesting because in the room we have farmers like Lars and Roy. But Celia, I would also like to give you the floor and then Lars.
Yes, for Simrise, we are business to business. So we are not the ones that are claiming in the end on the product to the consumer. But we are doing this intermediary, meaning if there is a good signal from the market, we are happy to support this signal. And at the same time, like you were saying also, Roy, in terms of CSRD, we are already working closely with the farmers. And we want to have a positive impact, right? So it's how do you make the link between these two things? And for regenerative agriculture, it's true that there is no definition, but there are standards with, say, a platform, for instance, the Regenerative Agriculture Together framework. There are working group with the World Business Council on sustainable development. So there are frameworks that are getting discussed, established, but at the same time, as all global frameworks, it takes time to get finally really in place. So we cannot also wait that this is purely institutionalized already, or already that the European Union will make law about what it is. Sorry, do you hear me?
Oh, sorry. I was, pardon, my mic is still open. I was looking for the SAI as you were talking. I thought I'd quickly look up the SAI so that I could put it in the chat. Sorry, but I didn't know if it's the last one.
So what I mean is this framework takes time to get really in place. So we cannot also wait for this framework to be in place to act with our farmers. And then, so we have a mixed feeling, meaning we define our own framework with principles, and then it's practice-based, like you were saying. There was a debate, should it be only outcome-based or practice-based? I will not be black or white because, I mean, they are practice. We all know that they are good for environment. Like, I mean, you cover your soil, you diversify your crops, and even we are not able to measure exactly the outcome in terms of biodiversity metrics or things like this, we know that this is going in the right direction. So for this type of practices, we are also happy if we can track the changes towards our suppliers. So if our suppliers start covering the soil more, they start to diversify their crop rotation, we are happy to support that. So yeah, otherwise we start from there also to capture the practices, and then we are starting investing in capturing more the indicators, so the outcome. But for water use, it's easy. For pesticides, it's easy. But when you come to biodiversity or things like this, it's much more complex. So.
Thank you very much, Celia. I do understand I'm putting you all on the spot here, so I'm really appreciative of that you want to share, and that of course it's all a search for everybody. Maybe Lars, you wanted to add as well. I think from the farmer's perspective.
Yeah, so currently there's a few of the multinational food corporations that have some form of a regenerative program, both in the Netherlands as globally. And how it currently works, if you want to sell your product to this buyer, then they have their regenerative standards, including all the reporting, and you get a very, very minimum fee, which is about, well, say 60% of what it costs you as a farmer to take part in this type of measurements, that you get as a direct reward for your product. So you really have to sort of buy in to a certain corporation with your product in their regen program to be able to take part for a very, very minimal fee, because there's no consumers that are willing to pay currently on a broad level, and globally it's all price-based competition between all these corporations. So there's very limited room for extra reward for farmers on a big level. Niche products, there's always room for premium, but on a bulk level, it's really difficult. And internationally, it's more, say, North America, South America. Regenerative is a word or a term to guide farmers in the right direction, because there are some known detrimental farming practices that are hard to break. And by calling something regenerative, it is a way for a company to ensure their long-term raw material supply for a certain price, and send some money along a certain path to a farmer to guide them in the right direction. So that's two, and it really differs per region how big the benefits are.
Yeah. So if I translate you correctly, the problem, in your view, is that on the farm level, you don't get enough paid to really cover your costs in terms of extra investments. But
for the base bulk products like potatoes, like cereal,
yeah,
you cannot see it on the outside if it's a regeneratively grown or not. For niche product, you get a good premium.
Yeah, okay. So for the bulk, that's the problem. But if I listen to Celia and Avdesh, that also is still the problem throughout the whole value chain, because actually your problem on farmer level is also in the mid level and then also all the way downstream. And the consumer does not actually know what is regenerative, does not also know why it benefits them. I mean, they can look on it on pack, as we have seen with the Innova presentation today, that some claims are made, but the question is, how regulated is that or not? In Europe, that probably will differ, and as we heard from I think it was Natalia that says it even differs per country, so that makes it even more complex. So yeah, that's not an easy puzzle to look at in terms of valorization, to see who's going to pay for this whole new movement, I would say. As I also hear from you, Lars, it's not so much one different thing, but it's really moving up all together in terms of being more sustainable and really producing on a whole different way. That's the complex puzzle we're trying to fix in our community with all the different partners. That's why I really like the discussions going on. Avdesh, I see your hand up. Did you have a question? Because I'm also looking at time and I don't want to...
I will be super quick actually. Like as I always say, I mean, the science and research must really contribute here a lot to really bring the inputs down and output higher so that the price difference is not that huge between the traditional and the regenerative products, as already being happening in some products like carrots. So I see the carrots organically certified even as compared to traditional one are mostly at the same price. So why wouldn't I buy as a consumer the organic one in that case? Because I know that there are more benefits, even if they're not scientifically proven or something, but at least I know they're not using pesticides and whatsoever is harmful for me. So I would strongly say that like we should really try to also get more science and research here, and this help should really go all the way to the farmers, because farmer really just wants to get a fair price of. Then the entire chain will be covered.
Hey, but Avdesh, you had a question about these claims, right? But all of these vitamins and minerals, they already have an EFSA-approved claim. So you don't need more science, you don't need more claims. You just need to prove that a product coming from a regenerative agricultural-based farm has more vitamins and minerals than a regular product, right?
Yes,
well, Roy,
in total
you've given me
nutrition.
the perfect bridge here.
Can I maybe add a little bit? Sorry, that because I know it's your almost end of the call, but we are producing the product, which is a drink, non-alcoholic drink, which is using, or we try to use regenerative fruits. And we compared prices, and in Europe, it's impossible for us already being a small brand. It's just basically impossible to buy from regenerative farms, and there are not that many. And what Lars mentioned, there are quite a few in South America, or many more, and they are, because the labor is cheaper, I guess, they are more or less on par, so we can kind of afford them. But then the question is indeed, how do you communicate? Because I think I hear the discussion here, organic is not regenerative, and regenerative is not organic. The things are kind of connected, but not the same.
No.
And I think so I think there is a whole discussion, what is organic and what is regenerative, how different they are, and there are even different clubs or kind of like groups which fight each other. So like, for example, if I look at UK Planet Organic owner or founder, I talked to her and she hates regenerative, and she believes organic is not regenerative. So I think it's not that easy in a way, and indeed to explain it. So what we looked at the podcast, and indeed we looked at the claims where there's a real proof that there are more vitamins in the fruits. However, there's a question mark how much vitamins are left when you produce the drink. So I think people do buy the story that fruits are empty, especially like if you look at vitamin C and all this famous podcast one that oranges basically don't have any vitamin C, which we believe they do. So I think there's a more and more education needed, but I think at the moment I agree with Lars, it's not easy for farmers to switch because it's quite a different practice with cover crops and everything. It's just completely different way of doing it, and it's not the same as organic.
No, and definitely when you're on as a farmer in a very intensive way of farming, as you are now, for instance, and you need to shift, then it's really difficult. So I totally understand, and this is also why I really love this topic and also love this community actually, and also the discussions going on today, because not taking much more of your time, but I have heard first of all very interesting stuff in terms of what the market claims, the brand claim, but also your reactions on it in terms of, are we allowed to do that? Is that science-based or not? How does it work in the US and how does that work here in Europe, and even per country difference? But can we claim that, and how do we valorize that, and who does get the benefit, so that we fairly share this among the whole value chain and not just only in the downstream part of the value chain, but also where it starts at the farm level, that is really making the big changes and the biggest ones. So I love this topic, and I think we're not finished with it yet. And we already sort of thought that we wouldn't in this time. So next time we will dive much more detailed into the region ag and health nexus. So is there a combination there? What does science say? How to valorize that? Talk about claiming or not claiming. Could sustainability on premiums be a way of working that's done now? But could it be diverted? Could it also be health or a combination? And can you do that or not? And how does that work in the regulatory frame? So we would like to discuss with you even further on that in the next Innovation Insights. But for now, I would like to give a very big round of applause for the Innova Markets Insights team today, because they delivered a great presentation for us. So ladies, big kudos for you, as Elaine would say. Thank you very much for your presentation and all your research for today. I hope you have enjoyed also all the discussions and difficult questions that came from the community. And I love the vibrancy of what I saw today on the topic. So we will proceed with it and really hope to see you next time live in Wageningen at the Friesland Campina site. You will get the invite as a community as well. And for people that were invited today and were not a partner yet, I hope this inspired you to become one and to join us in the next Innovation Insights to really be there live and to discuss further with us. Have a good working day all. Great.
Thank you,
seeing
everybody.
And thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.